I swear to you, this is real. It still gives me chills to say out loud, but I saw it before it happened. I visualize it every single day. Me, standing under the lights, hearing my name called. And when it finally happened, when he looked me in the eyes and said, "Where have you been? We've been looking for you." I swear my whole soul just said, I knew it. I knew this moment was real. But let me take you back, because before the dream came true, there was a lot of darkness, a lot of waiting, a lot of silence. My name is Mateo. I'm 30 years old, born in East LA, raised by a single mom who worked 2 jobs and still found time to make us feel like magic. She was the one who first told me I had light inside me. You're meant for something bigger, she'd say when I was just a kid mimicking scenes from telenovelas in the living room. But life wasn't exactly handing out open doors. After high school, I started working construction with my TO. Good people, honest work, but my heart wasn't in it. Every lunch break, I'd sneak off with a script I printed off the internet, practicing monologues in my car, sweating in that hot metal box, whispering lines through the cracked window while the radio played low in the background. I'd close my eyes and imagine it, the sound of applause, the velvet of the red carpet, my name printed in big bold letters on a movie poster. But then I'd open my eyes, and there I was, same dusty boots, same parking lot, same paycheck that barely covered rent. I couldn't let it go. Something in me refused to believe this was it. That life was just bills, struggle, and waiting for retirement. I started going to every open casting call I could find. I acted in student films, indie projects with no pay, background roles where I stood in the crowd for 12 hours holding a fake beer. But I loved it, every second. Even the awkward ones, especially the awkward ones, because at least I was doing it. Still, years passed, and nothing big came, not even close. Worse, the rejection started to feel personal. Sometimes I'd go home, look in the mirror, and whisper to myself, maybe they're right. Maybe you're not what Hollywood's looking for. There was one night I'll never forget. It was around 2 a.m. I had just gotten back from an audition where I completely froze. I forgot my lines. My hands were shaking. I sat on my tiny couch in my tiny apartment and just broke. Tears, real ugly ones. The kind that come from your stomach, not your eyes. I remember whispering, God, universe, whatever's out there, if I'm meant to do this, give me a sign, please. I'm trying so hard, but I feel like I'm shouting into the void. And then silence, not the peaceful kind, the kind that echoes and makes you feel like you're the only soul left on earth. But the next morning, something shifted. I found a video online, Joe Dispenza talking about acting as if, living as if the thing you want already exists. Feeling the emotion now, not when it arrives. I fell down the rabbit hole. Neville Goddard, Esther Hicks, Bob Proctor. I watched them all. Took notes like my life depended on it. And maybe it did. That night, I made a decision. If I was going to be an actor, then I'd be an actor now. Not when the industry said yes. Not when the money came. But now, inside, I started waking up every morning and visualizing. 10 minutes, eyes closed, breathing deep. I picture myself on set, feeling the warmth of the lights. I imagine a director shaking my hand, saying, "You're perfect for this." I felt it, smelled the air, heard the call of action. Then I'd open my eyes and whisper, "Thank you, it's already mine." I started walking like I was already cast in something big. I'd go to coffee shops and write in my journal, I'm the lead actor in a major film. I bring depth, presence, and emotion. I'm seen. I'm celebrated. Some days it felt silly. Other days, it felt like I was finally breathing for the first time. But don't get me wrong, there were doubts. Nights where I'd get home from waiting tables and just crash. Mornings when the bank account said $8.52, and I still closed my eyes and said, "Thank you, universe, for my abundant career." I fought every voice in my head that said I was delusional. I even lost a few friends who thought I was too woo-woo. But something in me trusted it wasn't logic. It was faith, like a whisper from my future self saying, "Keep going. It's closer than you think." I didn't know how. I didn't know when, but I knew one thing for sure. If I could hold the vision long enough, reality would have no choice but to catch up. I started living two lives. There was the outside life, waiting tables, checking casting sites, commuting through LA traffic in a dented Toyota with a missing side mirror. And then there was the real life, the one inside me, the one I built every single morning with my eyes closed. I made it a ritual. I'd wake up, light a candle, and sit cross-legged on the floor. I'd breathe in slowly, feel my heart beat, and drop into a scene I knew by heart. A movie set. The crew, my trailer, a script with my name at the top. I could feel the paper in my hands. I could smell the makeup room. I could even hear the low murmur of people on set, someone calling quiet before a take. I'd let myself feel the pride, the excitement, the calm confidence of being right where I belonged. Then I'd open my eyes and whisper, "Thank you, it's already done." I did this every single day. No exceptions, no excuses, even when I was broke, even when I was tired, even when I didn't believe in myself. But around the third month, something inside me cracked. I had just gotten an email rejection for an audition I knew I nailed. I walked out of that room sure I had left everything on the table. When I saw that, "Thanks for coming in, but we've gone in another direction," I just sat down on the kitchen floor. I stared at the ceiling and said out loud, "This isn't working. None of it is working." My vision board looked like a joke. The affirmations felt like lies. And that voice in my head, the one I'd been silencing for months, came roaring back. "Mateo, you're 30. You're broke. Nobody knows your name. Who do you think you are?" That night, I turned off my phone and went for a walk. No music, no distractions, just me and the hum of the city. As I walked past Sunset Boulevard, I saw a billboard. It wasn't the billboard that mattered. It was the actor on it, a guy I used to do background work with. We had met once years ago. He was quiet, kind, hungry, just like me. Now he was on a billboard, starring in a summer blockbuster. And instead of feeling bitter, I felt fire, like the universe was whispering, "If he can do it, you can too. You're closer than you think." That moment flipped a switch. Not in my circumstances. In me. 2 days later, I heard about a gala happening at a hotel in Beverly Hills. One of those elite industry events with red carpets, press walls, and champagne flowing like water. A friend of a friend of a friend was working valet and said, "Bro, there's no way you can get in unless you look like you belong." I couldn't stop thinking about it. That same night, I sat with my journal and asked myself, what would the version of me that already made it do? The answer was immediate. He'd go. He'd put on his best suit. He'd walk through those doors like he was invited. He wouldn't ask for permission. He'd act as if he already belonged. So that's exactly what I did. I wore my only decent blazer, fixed my curls, and put on the most confident smile I could fake. As I approached the entrance, my heart was pounding so hard I thought people could hear it. But I kept saying over and over in my mind, "I belong here. I belong here. I belong here." The security guy barely glanced at me. He checked someone else's name on a clipboard and waved me through. Just like that, I was in. The ballroom was glowing, glasses clinking, laughter bouncing off the marble, celebrities, producers, directors, all around me. And there I was, Mateo from East LA, standing in the middle of it all like I had been born for this. I didn't network. I didn't pitch. I just existed in that space as if I were home. And then I was sipping a drink, trying to look relaxed, when I heard someone behind me say, "Mateo." I turned around and my heart stopped. It was David Keller, A-list director, the man behind one of the most successful action franchises of the decade, the director of the exact kind of film I had visualized myself starring in. He looked at me like he knew me. "You're Mateo, right? Mateo Ruiz?" I nodded, stunned. Yes." He smiled. "That's wild. I was just talking about you yesterday." My throat went dry. "You were?" "Yeah," he said. Someone sent me a reel a while back. I saw the scene you did in a student short film. Couldn't get it out of my head. The way you held emotion, the stillness, it was powerful. We've been trying to track you down. I was frozen. My brain couldn't process what was happening. He looked me in the eye and said, "I've got a role coming up. Lead. Big one. You're exactly what we've been looking for. Can we talk this week?" I nodded. I said yes. I don't even remember walking out of that hotel. I floated in the Uber ride home. I stared out the window, and the tears just came. Not from shock, but from recognition. Because somehow, some part of me already knew this moment. I had been there, in my mind, in my heart, night after night after night. The universe didn't give me what I wanted. It gave me what I believed. I'll never forget the way he said it. "We've been looking for you." It was like the whole universe had been looking, waiting for me to show up as a version of myself who already believed. And that night, I did. 3 days later, I walked into a studio in Burbank for a meeting I still couldn't believe was real. David Keller greeted me like we were old friends. He offered me a seat, poured me coffee, and said, "Mateo, I've seen a lot of town over the years, but what you bring, it's presence. You feel real." He handed me the script. As I flipped through it, I stopped at the page with the character breakdown. And there it was, my name. The role wasn't just a fit. It was like it had been written from my journal. Latino male, 30s, inner conflict, deep loyalty, quiet intensity. It felt like me. "I want you to read for it," he said. "But if your read is anything like your reel, the part is yours." I went home and prepared like I never had before. But I didn't panic. I didn't over-rehearse. I just became him. That version of me I had already met in my mind so many times. I walked into the audition room, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't acting. I was remembering. I delivered the scene. And when I finished, there was silence. Then David said, "Welcome to the film, Mateo." Just like that, the world didn't explode. No fireworks. No trumpets. Just quiet confirmation. Like the universe saying, "Of course, this is how it was always meant to be." The first day on set, I stood there in full wardrobe, surrounded by crew, cameras, lights. And I closed my eyes, took a breath, and it hit me. This was a scene. The exact one I had visualized every morning for months. Same energy, same feeling, same sense of I'm home. When they called action, I didn't just perform, I lived. And with every scene, I could feel years of doubt melting away. All those nights crying on the couch. All those rejections. All those moments I whispered, "Thank you," when I had nothing to show they had led here. When the trailer dropped months later, my phone exploded. Friends, strangers, casting directors who had ghosted me for years. Suddenly, everyone was calling, but you know what meant the most? My mom. She watched the trailer 10 times. Called me crying, her voice cracking as she said, "You never stopped believing my son. Even when I worried you'd get hurt, you just kept going." That moment, bigger than any billboard, bigger than the check, bigger than fame. It was a full circle. A son who refused to stop dreaming, and a mother who always saw his light. You know what's wild? The biggest change wasn't outside. Yeah, my life changed. I got a manager. People knew my name. I started working full-time as an actor. But the real shift was inside. I stopped chasing. I started trusting. I stopped begging the world to see me. I started seeing myself. The fear didn't disappear, but it lost its power. Because I knew now that I could create anything. Not just because I deserved it, but because I was willing to believe in it long before it was real. If you're watching this right now, if you've been doubting, waiting, praying for a sign, let this be it. I'm not special. I didn't have connections. I didn't have money. I just had a vision and the courage to live as if it was already mine, even when everything around me said it wasn't, especially then. You're not crazy for dreaming big. You're not foolish for believing in something the world can't see yet. That dream in your heart, it's not random. It's not wishful thinking. It's a glimpse of the future trying to find its way to you. I look back now and think, What if I had given up that night on the kitchen floor? What if I had ignored the whisper? What if I hadn't shown up to that gala, simply acting as if? I'd have missed a moment that changed everything. So here's what I'll say to you. Don't wait for the invitation. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait until the world believes. Believe now. Act now. Walk into the room like the universe has been waiting for you. Because maybe it has. If this story touched your heart, if you believe the universe is always listening, if you've ever visualized something before it was real, comment below, I trust. Let's flood this space with energy, with belief, with the vibration of dreams already done. And if you want more stories like this, of real people turning the invisible into reality, subscribe, like, share this with someone who needs to believe again. Because sometimes all it takes is one whisper, one vision, one step in the dark to be called by name.